Hey everybody, I'm live here with Queens and Kings. How are you guys doing?
Good. How are you
Yeah.
doing?
How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm excited to have you guys on here.
We're excited to be here.
Absolutely, man. Good to see you.
You too. You too. It's been a while without this live music. I don't get to see people like you guys as often as I used to.
I know, man. It's hopefully we're getting to the end of that and we're getting back to rock and roll.
Definitely.
Really
Definitely.
hope.
Yeah. Yeah. Keep my fingers crossed that's soon. But yeah, thank you to everybody who is tuning in here. I'm here with Queens and Kings. They've got a new music video out, which we're going to be talking about and showing you guys some clips of. Also, just going to talk about what they've got going on. This is one of the like, to me, I feel like you guys are one of the most active and exciting punk rock kind of things going on in Toronto. So yeah, I'm very excited to have this conversation. I'll just let everybody watching know we are streaming live right now on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. If you're watching from any of those platforms, if you want to put in a comment or if you guys have any questions for them, put them in and we'll get them up on the screen. Yeah. Aside for that, we'll jump right into it. Do you guys want to tell anybody watching who you are if they haven't heard of you already?
Brendan's always like, "I'll let you do it, Alyssa." He's so chivalrous. So we're Queens and Kings, alt rock, garage rock duo from Toronto. Typically, I play drums and sing, and Brendan plays guitar and sings. But we change it up, we switch, and Brendan plays both occasionally to let me run around on the stage and go crazy. And
How I missed that. Yes.
we miss it. We miss it a lot. Yeah. Hopefully everyone watching now will come and see us live and in person one day when we can do that.
Can't wait to get back to rocking.
Yeah, if anybody is watching and you are any place that Queens and King is playing in the future, if you haven't seen them live, it's definitely one hell of an experience. Oh, I see we got a Pressity in here. Thanks, Josh.
Yeah,
Pressity's just one of my favorite people right here. So
yeah,
nice.
Awesome.
Yeah, no, I'm God, I can't wait for live music to be back. But yeah, you guys played at the first ever live version of the Canadian Independent Music Video Awards, and I heard people talking about you guys for months and months and months after that. It was pretty crazy. But you guys have a very energetic live show. Can you talk about that a little bit, and like maybe we can reminisce and pretend that it's going to be back very soon?
Yeah, I mean, I think our band is kind of like about like we started this band. We've known each other for probably like 11 years, and we only started the band like 2017-ish. And I think we started it largely because we were both doing other projects that were a bit more disciplined and very different from this one. And we both have a really intrinsic just love of rock music. We both grew up on a lot of kind of like powerful, Brendan's kind of like power trio, like grunge rock kind of guy, and I've always just really, really had an affinity, like, was drawn towards particularly female fronted, but all kinds of, aggressive rock music that kind of gets me going. So we wanted to start something, and I think we largely wanted to start it as a way to release some of our kind of frustrations about, things we were going through, and even just as a way to communicate with each other. Like, we have a very strange dynamic. So I think that our live shows are so physical and aggressive and visceral and all that stuff because it is an expression of that. And that was our intention of just letting it be kind of a release of all that and just not taking ourselves so fucking seriously and just letting things go and doing what we wanted to do and all that kind of stuff. So I guess people are getting that. It's coming.
I feel like you can feel it. Like there's always, like I've seen you guys a handful of times. There's just an energy in the air when you guys are on the stage.
Thanks, man. Go ahead. I was gonna say, I think it's like it really is like you can have it where it's about the music and you're feeling the music and you're into it, and that's 100%. There, but I think it's also with us, it's like it's therapy for life, like for everything we've been going through in life, and that kind of like it's way more powerful when like that is your shining moment, your shining release, not just from like it's cool to get on stage and do that, but it's it's like you're getting over this trauma, you're dealing with this in the past, you have this stress, whatever. Like it all bottles up into this explosion where at least for that one moment you have nothing but joy and energy and passion coming out of you. It's like it's really a culmination of everything into one thing. So I agree with you guys that the energy is there, and we really just explode because of all of that, I think. And Alyssa and I have had some rough roads and some dark times and some up times, dark times, whatever, but it does come out on stage. So I'm glad that people are noticing that energy, because I feel it. I think it's contagious, and we have some video proof that it's contagious, so that's good too. But anyway,
yeah, that really ties into this next music video we're gonna talk about, Going Through Hell. Just before we get to that, though, I do want to ask how that all translates into your guys' songwriting process. Because it is a lot of emotional stuff you guys talk about. A lot of it, especially like is Going Through Hell, is very introspective. What is that writing process like for you, and just getting all of that energy out onto a piece of paper?
It's very different. Like the way we write, like definitely, your dynamic comes into it. Plays a big part in your songwriting experience with each other and your band experience. And because our relationship can be so challenging and volatile at times, and we both can be kind of alpha dogs a little bit, and so sometimes it's not that easy, to be honest. Like I feel like part of why we're so proud when we release something, a piece of music or video, is because we know we like really worked for it. Like we really, had to come together and work through things and build it until we were both like satisfied. And, sometimes that process can be, it can have its ups and downs.
Oh, it's fought for. The end product, you're like, oh, this is pretty solid. I wonder what it took. It took a lot.
It took a lot, and like we're both a little perfectionist.
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, we both, no, you go ahead.
I was going to say, I'm not saying it's always hell and, eventually we get there. Like there's a lot of positive energy, passion and stuff in there, but we do like fight tooth and nail because we care about what we do, right? And if you care about what you do and you're really passionate about what you do, and you have a feeling when things are working and when they're not, that is the most important. So we battle our feelings. She's got her feelings, and the feeling is speaking to me. My creative muse is telling me this is the way, and I'm saying this is the way, and then we go, and then we meet like with a bit of hers, bit of mine, and then we come to an agreement where maybe, I wasn't open to her idea. Like I wasn't thinking of it, and she said it. I'm like, you know what? For sure. So this one was a really like from the heart kind of one, and Alyssa took the lead on this one for the subject matter and stuff, and then I riffed off her ideas. She already has some lyrics, so I kind of got my parts from her kind of theme. And it really this one magical come together kind of thing.
Yeah, this one came together fairly quickly in terms of the song itself. Like we just kind of like started jamming, and I started humming, and the melody was pretty much the same as what it became, and the chorus came immediately, like probably within the first to second run, like right away in that first jam session, like pretty much immediately it came out. So I think this one was just meant to be, it just kind of like came to us.
Nice. Yeah, and it's got a super cool music video with it. You guys have collected the footage for this. This is 10 years worth of footage, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's footage from just our own personal memories. From more or less like we've known each other for 11 years. So from like whenever we started taking videos, so it obviously wasn't planned for this for the most part. Like it was, but a lot of it is from before Queens and Kings even existed. So. Yeah. And then some of it was more recent. Like we have a bit of, some of the end scenes and the beginning scenes were actually like we have some special moments in there that will, forever live in that video. Like Brendan's last birthday is in there, New Year's Eve, last New Year's Eve.
Hopefully not my last birthday.
Ominous.
No foreshadowing.
You heard it here first, folks.
I better enjoy this year.
Yeah.
While we're at that, if anybody has any questions for these guys, you should get them in here. This is potentially one of Brendan's last interviews.
Yeah.
No, knock on wood, don't say it. I mean, knock on wood, it doesn't happen.
But yeah, you know, I've got a little clip, a few clips actually. If you guys are okay with us jumping in, I'll show a little clip of the video, and then I'd love to discuss it.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go for it.
And for everybody watching, if they do want to go find the whole video themselves, what's the best place? What's the easiest way? YouTube, Facebook?
Definitely YouTube is the best place. We have youtube.com/Queens and Kings is our YouTube channel. And you can also find it embedded in our website at queensandkingsmusic.com.
Yeah. Nice and easy.
Awesome,
okay, so I'll give you guys a little taste of it, but make sure you go check out the rest of it afterwards.
When you can't go to the venue, bring the venue to you.
Oops.
Oh, wrong video.
We're everywhere, man.
You say things to get under my skin. Your words taste like whiskey and gin. Well, you and I, we've been through shit. We've seen all kinds. We've seen it all. Yeah, you and I had heaven, baby. But now we're going through hell. You and I, we've been down roads, we've crossed each county line. We've hopped each fence, we've climbed each hill, we've walked on each fine line. We've been in hate, we've been in love, hung on when things got rough. We clung on to those moments with both fists, but it never was enough.
Was it enough, Alyssa?
Time will tell.
Time will tell. We're still friends.
Yeah.
Terrific. Yeah, and I've got another clip we'll play at the end here. But yeah, can we talk about it a little bit? It's
Yeah.
no, it's a great concept for video. This is also your first time. Oh, I'm pointing the wrong way. Your first time editing one of your guys' videos, right, Alyssa?
Yeah, that's right. You know, in the past, like I actually, my computer is like 9 years old. Like I need a new one to be able to do the stuff, you know, anyway. So in the past, you know, Brendan and I have kind of collaborated creatively, and I'll send overlays or ideas or say, you know, go through the lines of a song and say, this is really good part of this clip or whatever, the raw footage. But Brendan's always done the technical for our last couple of videos. And he's done an amazing job. And for this one, you know, we started off that way, actually. And I had this real idea in my mind. Like, I really wanted the song to, the video to kind of echo what the song was about and tell a story. So I just kind of said to him, like, you know, can I, like, I'd really like to try this one. Like, I've always really wanted to get into video editing. I'm a very visual person, and I have, you know, I always have a lot of ideas. Like, whenever I have a song, I get like visuals in my mind. Like, the visuals are almost part and parcel of the song. So I always have all these concepts and no way to, you know, make those concepts tangible. So Brendan was a real trooper. He brought his like PC tower into Toronto because he's like staying out of town right now. He's been living out of town for like over a year now. And so he brought in his whole PC tower so I could work here. And, you know, I have a little like studio space that I started to set up for my like recording and stuff like that, he actually gave me his old Samsung TV to borrow too. So like I was able to work on this big screen. And yeah, just because I have a lot of experience with music editing and, you know, a little bit with video, not too much. I don't think I've ever used Premiere before, but because of that, I just got it really quickly. It was just like kind of like editing music, but with visuals. And I actually really like that aspect, because when you're just editing music, you get so much into the perfectionism of like, how do you want to EQ something? How do you want to pan it? How do you want to affect it and all this stuff? And everything is kind of balanced with everything else. And it can be like really, in the end, it can get kind of stressful. But with this, you're really more focused on a visual, which is, the visual is, you know, you can add effects and overlays and stuff. But so I just really enjoyed the process anyway. And yeah, I just kind of figured it out really quickly, and definitely want to, you know, have plans to
yeah, now I open Pandora's box. So
it was bound to happen.
It's now every other video we're going to switch back and forth. We're not going to be 100% either of us, obviously, but whoever's going to be doing the technical editing will probably go back and forth. But yeah, I was like, I think certain people are more capable of just getting into it, like, than other people would be, right? Like if you have no background dealing with technical things like a DAW, like, you know, software for recording music, or even web design, animation, or any of these things, or Photoshop, all those things teach you about layers and timelines. And if you're familiar with layers and timelines, like, I mean, that's a really good base. And Alyssa had done a few little things in iMovie, maybe a little, like these tiny little things that you learned that just built up your knowledge base, right? So by the time you hit Premiere and you have the mind, the creative mind, and the technical ability from all this other stuff you do, like, oh my God, looping 24 voices with guitar, kalimba, and pedals, like, you got some skills. So it was a no-brainer that it was eventually, like, I always thought she'd kill it. It was just a matter of sitting at Premiere and getting into it. So I was amazed. I was in the other room, like, trading crypto stocks or whatever I was doing, crypto coins. And
like stock couch.
She's like, come and check this out. So it was, yeah, it was pretty amazing. And no joke, because like she didn't have the computer, I had to lug in my giant VR PC system, and then I had it there. So within the time, she had to finish it before I went away, right?
Right.
So when I did the I'm Begging video, oh my God, it was 2 weeks, 2 solid weeks of editing, like 150 hours of just crazy editing. And she was able to pull this video off in 3 days of me hanging out. And we go to Chipotle, come back.
I would try and bribe him to stay longer. Like, should we get?
I did stay a bit longer, but I mean, it was pretty remarkable to get it done in that amount of time, and have it be the emotional kind of video it is, and how it's actually really, we get a lot of feedback about how it connected to people emotionally and stuff. And, you know, our other tunes are more like visually crazy, and the subject matter just solid riff rock, and the good moments. But this one's really like, can't see my heart there from the heart. It's like, what's he doing down there?
We can't see anything. We just hear thumping coming.
Yeah. Like, what is that?
Oh, no. It's going to be that kind of
it's a rock and roll show, baby. You can handle it.
Queens of Kings after hours. After dark.
Alyssa was asking if there's any kids that watch this show. I said, hopefully not.
Well, they wouldn't know what that means. Just like the Simpsons or Teletubbies, there's secret messages that people don't know about. So, I'm telling you.
Oh, man. The amount of things that I thought were funny from The Simpsons when I was a kid that now I realize I didn't understand is pretty high.
Yeah.
There's so many things in life, man. Nursery rhymes for kids are about the Black Plague. Like, shit, you just don't even ring around the rosy. It's not such a positive thing.
Yeah, most of them were not so happy.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Something to sleep to. Terror. Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to ask you about the video. I do just want to give a quick shout out to Jennifer. I see Jennifer Hall's in here.
Jennifer.
Did you guys know Jennifer?
I think we follow each other on Twitter.
Okay, I assumed you guys ran into each other. You guys are like always out and about and stuff. But yeah, if not, you guys definitely should.
100%.
Yeah, sorry. Where was I going? Oh, with the video. You guys are talking about the feedback that you got. And it is, it's very, I'd say there's very few people in life who have not gone through a breakup. And the song, talks about just that, the heaven that you feel, the bliss that comes from a relationship. But then how it can become the exact opposite. And I think that's something that most people have felt, because the people that you love the most are also the people that are going to hurt you the most. Maybe not the most, but they have, there's just all of that emotion there. And I think a lot of people really Pardon me?
You're gonna make us cry.
I'm sorry. I'm curious what other people's opinions are, because I'm sure you guys have heard a lot of people coming back with that same thing that they can relate to exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that, this is how intense we are, is that is about 5% of what our actual intensity is.
Yeah.
Like, so the video, that's how much, like, we are very, very intense. I don't know, what's a better way of saying it, Alyssa? You can take over.
Batshit. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's I think this video kind of reflected both our relationship and, like you say, like, feelings of kind of loss and letting go of, like, or trying to figure, because we are kind of navigating this relationship, which has always been full of ups and downs. Like, it's not really like a typical dynamic that we have with each other, and it's always been this kind of like, push and pull kind of dynamic. Like, we can get along so well for a long time, and then boom, something happens, and then
it's very extreme though, like
dark force
high, lows are
over it. Yeah, so I think that the video kind of was like, it kind of reflected that, and at the same time, I think the song, and one of the reasons we wanted to release it right now, is I think it kind of took on a new meaning. I mean, the title itself kind of says a lot about the times we're going through, but it was also just the reflection of letting go of, like, and the mourning kind of the loss of so much of just what we came to take for granted as our normal day to day. And, now those things just seem like a fond memory, that we just want to get back to. So, I think the video kind of reflected a bit of both of those things, because we did happen to, some of that footage we did do during these times as well. So, yeah.
Nice. And how, like, sorry, just circle back a little bit. What has people's reaction to this been like? Because as you mentioned, a lot of your guys' songs are, it's full ahead rock and roll. Whereas this, you were just saying people really connected with it. How is that kind of experience of hearing people come back to you and say those kind of things?
Yeah, well, I think because of those things, because people related to it on a personal level in terms of their own personal relationships with other people, or even just with themselves, or with, things that they had to let go of in their lives, but also because of what we're all going through collectively, like on a global level right now. A lot of people did kind of message us, like, either publicly on social media, and some people even reached out privately and sent messages to myself or Brendan or both of us. And just said, like, it actually, like, made me a little emotional, kind of really felt it. And I actually even got emotional, kind of when I was doing that near the end scene, and we're in the water, and then I just kind of, like, did an overlay and made it black and white. Like, it just kind of, like, something kind of struck me about that. It was kind of like almost like a goodbye, or to something, or.
Well, it's definitely a mirror for other people, right? Like, you don't want to go out of your way to, like, it'd be cool, let's go do this or whatever, and make it like people who try to be something they're not. Like, this is literally us taking our shirts off. You know what I mean? Like this is his me, not Alyssa, but me. You know what I mean? He's hiding behind a tree, going hello. But it's just like passion. I can get emotional watching it too, right? And you don't really know the sum. You weren't expecting the sum of the parts, right? So afterwards, it's definitely even more powerful than when we were doing it and when I was like seeing, because I was thinking technical and we're watching it and all the stuff and you know the moments, but those are our real moments. Like most of those moments were just before we were a band, while we were still a full-on couple. I wasn't even a photographer or anything. We have GoPros, we have cell phones, we have all this stuff, and it's just those are real moments, you know, like some really, really happy memories are like put on view. You know, like I keep bringing up the Hawaii moment where we're in the water and we got the GoPro and the palm trees behind us. Like that's one of my life's top memories. I love that.
Yeah.
Time at Hanoma Bay in, you know, Hawaii, and it's such a perfect moment to have right in the middle of that video, you know.
Yeah, I mean that's heaven, it's paradise, right? And yeah, so I think even the footage in the chorus kind of reflected like the heaven, like the happy moments versus some of the moments that other people maybe don't see. And it's really hard to kind of reflect some of those moments because, you know, generally like people don't record their not happy moments, you know.
I think it's better for the world.
Not like, we're gonna fight, let's film that shit and, you know, remember this forever. So like some of it we just had to kind of try and recreate in a way because you just don't, people don't want to hold on to those memories or capture those memories, you know. So
yeah,
even if there's so many of them, you just like you don't really, you know, have that same footage for those.
And we also might have people in white trucks and straitjackets coming going, it's time for you to rest now. So
yeah,
it's yeah, but it's been an amazing journey for sure.
That's incredible. I feel like the video takes the viewer for quite a journey just throughout that few minutes. And I know for me it was such an emotional thing to watch, like because it is real. Like you guys didn't shoot that, like you weren't. That was just real moments from your life. It's a real song, and I just feel like this is a really impactful song because of you guys. And like, yeah, I really think you guys deserve a lot of kudos for putting things out there like that because that's hard to do.
I actually had a lot of stress about it because I'm a pretty private person, to be honest. Like talking about this stuff is always like a little weird to me, and like putting that on the internet, like publicly, not just like on my own personal pages, but like publicly. I think I did have a lot of anxiety surrounded that. Like I've never actually found it harder to release a song or a video than this one.
See, this is where we're the yin and the yang. So, we have a lot of things where we meet up on. We're creatively very similar. We have the same idea for how the song's supposed to sound once it's getting mixed and stuff like that. But in one place we differ. Like I would put my whole life out there. Like I'm completely an open book. I just like I've gone from an introvert. I was a very shy introvert. Can you believe it?
It's hard to imagine you like that after.
I was so shy. I couldn't even look a girl in the eyes for years and years and years when I was younger. Like I was so shy, and then something just switched once I started getting on stage. Something switched, and all of a sudden I'm complete. And I've been through hell and back in life for physically and all this crazy stuff. Another episode, and it just kind of makes you understand what's important and what's not, right? So I kind of right now I just open books. So she's got to remind me to like maybe you shouldn't do that. You know, maybe pull back a bit, and then I tell her maybe you should open up a little. So that's why we're good for each other. You know, we're the separates that help improve each other, and I don't know if improve's the best.
Yeah, like for me, I believe in like being very honest about who you are and trying to not ever contrive things, and
100%.
You know, but yeah, like certain things, like just like relationships are, you know, it's a fine line because it's a little personal, and you know, the one between Brendan and myself is a very strange one, and we never really know how to define it. Like it's funny, we'll do these interviews and some people will be like, oh, you guys are a couple, and other people will be like, oh, so you guys are an ex-couple, and like they're both kind of true. They've both been true at so many times, and it's like yeah, it's
We're
strange.
still figuring it out, to be
It's a
honest.
strange dynamic between us. It's just not like, I don't think either of us have ever really had a relationship like this one. It's just a strange thing. We just are what we are, I guess. I don't know, but
Yeah, we can be
we're like friends who have like really been there for each other through thick and thin. So.
Yeah, for sure. We can be doing things with our hands that are either like this or holding each other's hands. So it's kind of like, that's sorry?
You're such a poet.
The delivery was terrible.
Poetry.
My point being, like, we can go from like, screw you, you know, F off, whatever, I don't want to talk to you again, to like next time holding both of our hands, like, and like we don't even know if we're a couple right now, in fact. So we're like still holding hands and being real close, and really we have a bond that no matter what can't be broken, right? So even if we're not technically together or whatever, like we just have that, we have some lifelong kind of bond. So, and I think that really helps with our music and everything, and we're both fighting the same battles in life, you know?
Yeah, I think it's just good when you have someone in your life, no matter what that relationship is, that, you know, you have someone you can really rely on. And, you know, like everyone really needs someone at some point, you know, sometimes in their life. And if you have that person that you can rely on, like, it's a good thing to have, you know?
Who's got a
Definitely,
PC,
and hard to find.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I have a car, so she likes that. Did I bring over my PC from a different
Nice. Okay, so I'm gonna jump in. I'm gonna show people another clip of this video. First, I missed some comments though. Jennifer is saying definitely follow each other on Twitter. Oh, you guys go. Looking forward to seeing you guys live soon.
Yes. Can't
And
wait.
Benjamin, I missed this one. This would have been more time sensitive, but he says I love those straight jackets.
Yeah.
Right, man.
Ball out a few of those.
Reminisce.
Cool. So yeah, I'm gonna play. This is another clip from Going Through Hell.
All right, man.
Roughed up, broken down, beaten like a rag. When all we ever wanted was the love to last, but you gave it up. Oh yeah, you gave it all up. We're roughed up, broken down, beaten like a rag. When all we ever wanted was the love to last, but you gave it up. Oh yeah, you gave it all up.
You and I had heaven, baby, but now we're going through hell. All that time is still gone. Oh yeah, you and I, we went to heaven, baby, but now we're going through hell. Oh, that's right. Now we're going through hell. Yeah, yeah. Now we're going through hell. Oh, that's right. Now we're going through hell. Now we're going through hell. Now we're going through hell.
Roughed up, broken down, beaten like a rag. When all we ever wanted was the love to last, but you gave it up. Oh yeah, you gave it all up.
That's that second little snippet. If anybody watching wants to go see the whole thing, go look it up on YouTube or at queensandkingsmusic.com, or is it just queensandkings.com?
queensandkingsmusic.com. And then if you go to YouTube, type in, because if you type in just Queens and Kings, you'll get a whole bunch of other things, but youtube.com/Queens and Kings, right?
Kings. Yeah, we probably should have gone for matching URLs, but yeah, this one is just Queens and Kings. Yeah, some bastard bought up Queens and Kings so we can get queensandkings.com without paying them like 20 grand, or just like screw you.
Getting in touch, like, are you interested? And we're,
So evil when people do that shit. It's just, yeah. So,
Definitely. Well, yeah, it's the Dropout's got a similar thing. Like when I started Dropout, I didn't care about the .com because I just wanted to be like about Canadian music, Canadian thing. .ca made sense.
that makes sense, yeah.
But then in retrospect, like, because it was like, I don't know, it was maybe like a couple $100 when the .com originally, but now, yeah, people send me emails. They're like, yeah, you want to buy this site for like $10,000? Like it's a popular name. People go to it, and I'm like, no, I don't. Like, that's
yeah.
It's just rude. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, they've all been bought up now. I mean, I've been in web for 20 years, and back in the day, no one would have thought to buy up. Like, once people found it could be lucrative down the road, they would just buy up. Like, somebody bought crypto.com and sold it for like $2 million or $5 million.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Just because they spent $15.99 to
Yeah.
buy a domain.
Good investment for them.
Well, and it's like that's I feel like that's one of the hard parts about being a band in the modern age. You know, all these social medias are so important, but so many names have been right. Like it's so hard to get a name, or at least it was. You know, every time I've tried, and that's been a while. So I can only imagine brand new bands. Like I don't know how they even come up with names. Like
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
or adding 100 things afterwards, because there's just everything is taken. It must be.
Yeah,
So
well,
many.
this was actually our third band name. Like when we first started, we like had, had one for like maybe that lasted a couple of weeks or so, and then we had another. As Brendan will attest, I often regret that we didn't keep it because I really liked it, and I may use it sometime. So I don't tell people because I keeping it.
You're keeping it just in case you want to pull it out at some point.
Yeah, or if ever we pull like a Prince or whatever, and we need to like, well, I mean, we won't go silent, but we, if ever we need to rebrand and change our name, maybe we'll.
Yeah, it's good to backup plan.
Yeah, but
Okay, I won't ask you what it is, so you can keep that one a secret in case you need to pull it out at a later date.
I'll tell you our first one. Our first one was Dirt Road, and I kind of liked that. But then I thought, it sounds a little country, so we kind of veered away from it.
And also, it's not unique enough for a name. That's why the most popular companies are like Shopify, not Shop. You know what I mean? Like these kind of things are like you can come up with unique names and stuff like this because you can Google. If you Google Dirt Road, like what do you think is going to happen?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I mean, it was good. It was a good start.
On the other hand, you Google Queens and Kings and you get like RuPaul's Drag Race, so it's much more entertaining for sure.
You got a point. You got a point.
If you're gonna look at something that's not the band you were looking for, like that's probably more interesting.
It's just as good. You'll be happy either way. So.
Better than looking at dirt.
Yeah.
That's funny. But yeah, so you guys, we were talking about video editing a little bit earlier. Brendan, you were just saying how similar, like audio, maybe not how similar, but like how there's definitely similarities between audio editing and video editing. You've done a lot of video, also a lot of professional photography too, in case anybody doesn't know that about you. But can you kind of talk about how those visual elements have tied into Queens and Kings? I know the last music video you put out, that was all you, and that was incredible. But yeah, can you talk about how that all ties together, the visual aspect to your life into Queens and Kings?
Well, it's I've been very lucky to have this kind of background of creative and technical aspects my whole life. Like I started in Flash animation, which was timelines and layers, right? So that's how it got easier for me. But it really, I mean, the vision that the band has with all the videos and stuff is really a full-on collaboration with Alyssa. So it's like the both of us really working together to get it. I just happen to have the technical skills first. But I think it's like, it wasn't like a full plan to set out like, we want to make sure that our branding is this. We want to make sure like there's a bit of that where you want to be consistent in your branding, but you don't want anything to be like contrived, right? So I think the reason that our videos and everything kind of work together with our branding and stuff is because we do what we like and what we feel, not what we're not trying to do anything. We're just doing what gets you excited, what makes you excited, and what makes you feel good about living, right? And that's what Alyssa and I do for everything we do. When we're working on the logo, when we're doing the single art stuff, right? She could probably start doing the single art. She just got to get Photoshop. So for now, she does it through me, and
just like do this.
so we work together.
Put it together.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I think that it's really worked out in our favor. Like, we have all the tools. We have different tools that are starting to become similar tools. And she'll have different visual angles that I won't think of. Like, why don't we try to do this? I'm like, oh, I don't know. And then I'll put it in the video and be like, oh shit, this really works. Let's just do
it comes around.
Like, when you write a song with somebody, Jesse, it's like, if you write a song by yourself, sure, it could be great. It could be an amazing song. But if you have somebody else you're writing with, the potential for it to be better increases. Like, it definitely increases. So I truly believe we are just literally conduits to what we like and how we feel, and it just and hard work and technical ability and all that creativeness comes out to make what it is. It's not, we haven't necessarily planned anything but stay inside the colors that we like for our branding, the basic branding rules kind of thing. But other than that, the sky's the limit, man. Alyssa's like, one day, like Jesse was, he has actually taken some video footage that will be seen in our possibly next video. So we're working on that. But even then, Alyssa was like, once we finish here, we're going to drive an hour and 45 minutes to another spot, and then we're going to get more footage there. Like, you've seen the powerhouse that she is to get things
stopping us.
So the combination of me and her together are the best situation. If it was just me, it wouldn't be as good. If it was just her, it wouldn't be as good. I truly believe. So it's a real collaboration, but we're lucky to have a lot of DIY skills, and we're like, not every band's going to have the amount of skill set in there. Not every band member in a two-piece band is going to be a multi-instrumentalist. Not every band member is going to have 4 careers worth of technical skill level. I was very lucky that I got into video game design for the Transformers video games. I built those. I did Flash animation. I built websites in 1990. What the hell was it? 90.
The internet even existed.
Oh no, I literally had started coding before the internet was there. Like the PET computers, it was just green lines. I'm an old motherfucker. But, well, not that old. But you know what I mean? It's all the passion, the technical ability, whatever, and just what we like and not contrived. And that's pretty much how we arrive at the end products that we do. And a willingness, this is the biggest thing, a willingness to do work based on passion, not on money, right? So I see people do the same job when they build a website. They're like, oh shit, that's good enough. Like, I've never said that's good enough to anything in my life. If you want to be mediocre, sure. But if you want to excel and people really appreciate what you're doing, like when I did for photography, I'll shut up soon. When I did photography and I'm shooting all these concerts and I'm going to all these shows and always posting like Foo Fighters or Florence and the Machine or all the stuff I was photographing, or me with July Talk hanging backstage, doing all this crazy stuff. I was doing it because I was passionate about it and I loved it. I really wanted the visuals to be great. And I wasn't thinking this is going to be great in the future for my promo, right? Like, I wasn't thinking that, I didn't know that me posting to Facebook every day was the best advertising I could have done. Because I then proceeded to have 5 years of amazing job opportunities and offers and shooting for the Junos like every year, shooting just crazy shit all the time, just because I did something out of passion. Not because I thought it was going to get me somewhere, right? And you can talk to a lot of famous musicians and the same thing. They're like, oh, what's her name? Cameron Diaz or whatever her name is. She's like, how did you become this huge movie star? I was walking down the damn street. Like, I was just, you know what I mean? Like, there's things Where are you guys still there? You're frozen a bit, Jesse, on me.
I'm still here.
Oh, I'm here.
Are you still there? You're just not moving, man. That's
yeah,
hilarious.
I'm just stood still.
I was like, wow,
You
he's in the
entranced me
zone.
with
I
your
was like,
story.
That's hilarious. Sorry, I get in these zones and I put people in a trance, maybe. I don't know if that's a good thing. But anyway, it's like, just
Sorry,
do
before
what-
you get too far, we've got a bunch of comments coming
Oh,
back
geez,
to the.
wow.
First Barry's in here. Hey Barry, sorry, I don't mean to
Oh,
cut
yeah.
you off, but before we get too far away, there's a lot of action scripts.
Oh my God, yeah.
DOS commands forever. An old DOS man, hey, and then whatever he's saying here. I don't know what you guys are talking about, but
He's talking about pulling up the DOS directory, man. Get with it, bro.
I'm sorry.
10
People
lines,
seem to have really connected to that part of the
30
story.
lines. Oh, I did Flash, like action script, Unreal Engine script for video games. Oh man, HTML, CSS is still going on. But yeah, the old school stuff, man. The DOS prompt. One last thing, and then I'll shut up. I swear to God.
I'm not in a rush.
For now.
92, I did. I was super into like video games as I am now after designing them and all that stuff. But back then there was the shareware for Doom, the game Doom, and it came on like 12 diskettes, and you had to put these little diskettes in and type in DOS and install through each of these diskettes to get your like 10 megabytes of data. It was on like maybe even less. Like each diskette was like 500 kilobytes or some crazy shit. So yeah, understand what these people are saying. They understand
At least somebody does.
where it comes from. Yeah. The old school, man. I'm not really a Linux guy or that, but I do understand back in the day for sure.
That's funny. Okay, well, we'll have to have a separate quarantine songs just episode to talk about DOS commands.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the beginning of the interwebs.
Sorry, but yeah, I cut you off there. You were talking about how important it is to do things because you're passionate about it instead of for the money, which I think is super important, and I think it's very noticeable, the difference, especially when it comes to bands and musical artists, to see when somebody is authentic and they actually give a shit about what they're doing,
Yeah.
and when they are, trying to make some money off of a record and doing some shows.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just not even worth going that route. I mean, making money in music is like a bit of a, like it's and I don't think there's anything to be gained just by trying to fit into that sound that you think is like more, commercial or, like I've never really understood the purpose of wanting to sound like everyone else. I mean, you can have a certain sound that sounds like other bands, and there's nothing wrong with it. Like there's lots of great bands of every different kind of sound, but I just think that whatever you're doing, you just have to make sure it's authentically you and you're doing it for that purpose, because it represents something that's inside of you rather than something you're trying to capture that's like a bit contrived. So for Brendan and I, like, number one, like first and foremost, we're just out being honest about ourselves and like just releasing the stuff that exists within us, because like that's really what any kind of art is about, is self-expression. So I just think that no one should ever be afraid to just kind of go with what they are feeling and what they want to produce, no matter what anyone else says about it, no matter what the industry that they're in thinks about it, like just do something that speaks to you and tells people who you are.
Yeah, and I think on stage, like, do you want to be the person that you're trying to be something you're not and you're gonna fake it until you make it, or would you want to be the person that actually has the passion that gives you the most joy you could ever imagine, like, and express that joy and feeling on stage? And you know what I mean? Even if you're just jamming out at home. I used to practice guitar 3 hours a day because I wanted to be Joe Satriani, which is a hard thing to achieve. So I would practice and practice and practice. And then, no joke, after about 2 hours of jamming out, I would put one of his songs on and just put repeat. And I would solo a blues pentatonic scale over that thing for drinking booze on my Marshall stack, back in university. And I would just solo and solo and solo. And then after about 2 hours, I would hit this euphoria state where my hands would just flow and I would be doing shit that was just impossible.
The muscle memory takes over.
There is a flow state, right? There is something that you can get to, and it's very hard to get to, but getting there, you can get closer to that. And a little bit of that is when you're on stage and releasing and just letting the passion. you can tell if someone's like, okay, make eye contact for 3 seconds, move, make eye contact for 3 seconds. Okay, remember, I got to cut everybody in the room. Okay, you know, or when you go out and you're like, fuck, I want to rock tonight. Let's just let it all out. You love you, babe. Fist bump. Let's hit the stage, get on stage, and just go fucking balls to the wall crazy. Like, and just enjoy it and let that passion out. You know, if even I hit a wrong note because you're shaking around, so what? Like, just let out the passion. And I think your time, like, you realize soon enough that your time's short, man. Like, probably just focus on the shit you like to do and what you love to do, and work hard at it. But you can't just put a little bit of effort in. That's another story. Your passion should, you know, dictate where you go in life, you know.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Definitely. And where is your guys' passion taking you next? Yeah, what's coming up next for Queens and Kings?
Well, we're just still in the process of trying to finish putting out this album. So these are the first 3 singles. The third one that we put out wasn't necessarily the one we thought would be third, but it just felt like the right time to release that one. So we kind of shifted gears. Luckily, we had recorded everything for the pandemic, so we just are still kind of remotely, you know, mixing and mastering with people. And so yeah, like that's kind of like my major, or at least one of my biggest goals right now, is just to, you know, finish the release of this album. And we're still just kind of navigating that, like, especially like, you know, we're not only trying to release our debut album for this project, but we're also doing it during these kind of like unprecedented like times where all the rules are a little bit different. The way you release music is a bit different. There's no touring, there's no shows. So we're just trying to figure out how to do it the best way possible, and how to adapt to the situation and try and use it to our advantage. And there are ways that I think that you can, like right now, all eyes are on the internet, you know, so you have like this, you know, world of people that you can, you know, plausibly connect with and communicate with. And, you know, I've been meeting so many people actually, like, you know, I'm doing like a festival this coming week. Actually, I'm probably going to do a couple of conferences. So, you know, we're just like, that's our major thing now, is just like finishing the album and, you know, trying to figure out, because we have been very DIY with our, you know, with everything, including the PR, which can get really overwhelming. Like I do a lot of that side of it, and I find it overwhelming at times, and you know, hard to figure out what the best things are to do. So like, yeah, we're just kind of figuring out, like,
juggling a lot, but we do have a kind of timeline of like within 6 weeks or so doing the next single, whether it's Earthquake or not. We're still debating on that one. We have all the video ready to edit that video. So basically we have a song already mixed and mastered, ready to rock. It's done. It sounds killer. It's just making the video and choosing when to release it. And that's going to be an epic one. That's the one with me playing drums and guitar at the same time. Jesse knows because he's seen us play that and shot.
And he filmed half of the, yeah, like this is like a 2-location video, but he filmed he filmed all the main footage at the primary location. And thank you.
You will be excited to see what I have done.
Killer stuff.
Alyssa doesn't like me letting the cat out of the bag, but let's just say
Yeah.
I've used some unique ways of using your footage that you would not have expected already in the video, like cut in a certain way. So you will see it, and I will explain it another day. We'll reminisce about it. But
yeah, I won't let any cats out of the bag. But yeah, they've got a pretty. I got to see a little bit of it, and yeah, you guys should definitely keep an eye out for Earthquake. Whether that is the next or 2 videos from now, but it's
we're still
from what I've seen, even without this amazing description you just gave it, I think it's going to be epic. So I can't wait to see what's coming of it.
It's going to be solid. We'll be very happy with it.
It's gonna be intense. We went hardcore, and we have 2 pretty insane locations, and
we took more footage than we have for any other video.
Yeah, it could easily be made into 2 music videos. I actually
made it into a movie, Alyssa. It's 500 for all the tech heads. It's 500 gigs of footage.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's
It's
funny. Barry was just saying he remembers back to the earlier conversation where Ben was saying, I don't know what an F disket is, which maybe I don't, maybe, you know. But Barry's saying he remembers when they said no one would need a hard drive bigger than 10 megabytes. So
100%.
he's come a bit since then.
100%. And people said like email. Why would anybody ever want to use email when you could just like horse and buggy it to the next town? Oh yeah, it's just there's a famous one out there about the internet, like somebody being interviewed on TV just saying how like why would anybody ever want to use the internet for shopping? Like no one's going to use that for like it's just a classic. You can find it somewhere.
Yeah.
But times they are changing, and for the artists, you know, I was talking about this earlier today. For artists, there's also these NFTs where we can start using the blockchain and getting our art and our photography and our music and paintings and everything, and start getting paid and residual payments without having to go through the other sources, without record labels, without third-party management. You can do it yourself. So these times are changing right now. When all these artists aren't making any money, we're all getting half a cent a stream, or way less actually, micros of a cent.
0.00008 cents a stream. Yeah.
Yeah, but with things like NFTs, you can put your song in an NFT and then put a 20% resale value. So you sell your song, and if they can resell it, but then you get 20% back on it. That's a whole nother discussion, but things are coming along like for taking ownership back for music. So we've been dragged to the bottom of taken advantage of by everybody in the industry, right? Everywhere they try to sell you on something, they try to do anything, and it always costs a little bit. It's literally nickel and diming you everywhere, and you're still broke, and you have like your 50 grand worth of equipment that you've had to spend a lifelong journey of putting your heart and soul into it. I can't think of another career where you are undervalued as much, but you are bringing one of the most powerful things to the world that anybody can bring. There's songs that I've listened to that have changed my life, that have saved people from suicide. Like music is so powerful, and it's underdeveloped. Like, oh, you like to do this? Come on, here's some exposure. Here's some whatever, you know? So.
Yeah. And it's omnipresent, you know, like people don't even realize how much music influences them because they don't even sometimes, notice like, oh, it's in the restaurant I'm eating in, it's in the movies I'm watching, it's in the television shows, it's on the street, it's everywhere you are. Like it really, it's the soundtrack to our lives, and it can change your mood, from sad to happy to sad, and yeah, it, like Brendan's saying, like people think it's just fun and games, but it's literally so much constant physical exertion. It's so expensive, to buy your gear, to fix your gear, to pay for your albums. They're expensive. I had a friend who was like, she thought you just kind of went into a studio and you played your song live and then you put it out, and that was like it. Yeah. That was done. It's just like, no, it's a bit of a longer process than that, and it's a lot.
Most people have no idea the process.
They don't know how many studios, how many engineers that has to go through, and just the emotional, aspect of like, deciding on how that should go and making sure it's right, like, and putting it before you put it out to the world. It's all very, it's emotionally can be very taxing as well. So.
And just to get good enough to do all that, you have to spend years and years honing your craft. Like there's so much to it. And I've done hard careers. I went from no career to quite successful in photography within like I was making money within 3 months of picking up a camera. And within 5 years, I was shooting the Junos, hanging out with all these people, shooting for the city of Toronto, shooting like whatever. That was hard, but that's nothing compared, man. Yeah. Nothing compared. Like, I had some skills going in. I was lucky. I already had things that were helping me achieve success sooner than later. But, music is the hardest. Like, the amount of hours I used to do scales, I would like watch The Simpsons or whatever, and I'd be just doing scales. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, like hours and hours and hours every single day for years.
Yeah.
And that was just when I started. That was decades ago,
Yeah.
right? So all the musicians in the crowd here tonight, and you guys understand, you know, that it takes a lot. It's blood, sweat, and tears. It's a real passion, and we should be starting to take back the reins. You
Yeah,
know?
things need to
Yeah,
change.
sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say things need to change, and I think now when everything has kind of changed with, you know, outside of our hands or our doing, I think a lot of people are taking this time to say, like, yeah, you know, it's not, we shouldn't just go back to the way things were. We should examine it and change the things that weren't working. Like everything collapsed, you know, and it just, you know, makes you question everything about the way we live in our system. And, you know, there are definitely things that really could benefit from this moment of reflection and trying to change those things.
Yeah, and thank God we have venues that are still sticking it out and holding it out, so we have something to go back to and enjoy playing at. Like, I can't wait to get back to, you know, Cherries and play a good show there. Like, that's on my big to-do list. You know, Cherry Colas is such a great sound, such a great energy, and in fact, the last frame of that video is Cherry Colas. So
Nice.
check it out.
Yeah, no, I agree with things you guys are saying there. We got Hasey's here. She's from Invale. If anybody,
Oh, Dylan.
definitely check them out
Casey,
as
what's
well.
up? You gotta check
It's through the labels if you can help it.
Thank you, girl.
She also says you guys rock in a separate statement. You know, slightly
She
different.
rocks
Selections.
G-Rocks, you gotta check them out. In Vale, it's just
Yeah, awesome people, awesome band.
Yeah, definitely recommend. Anybody? Well, first you guys got to go watch Going Through Hell, but after you've watched the whole thing, and then go check.
Back and forth.
one video.
Make a 2-song playlist and then just like, yeah.
Repeat.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jennifer Hall said, "Thank goodness we are still getting music on Napster via dial-up."
Yeah, I remember that.
You're welcome.
They say we found out with this quarantine that musicians can play their music online. Yeah, it's like I said, it's been a huge change. So many changes. Even like we just did the Independent Music Video Awards, which you guys did a performance for, right? We were never in the same room.
By the way, that's insane production values, bro. Like,
thank you.
Holy crap! Like, I was like, we're talking. This is the Junos. This is like the great. You're like starting the essence of what's going to be like this crazy show, and it looks so amazing with your back, like so pro, man, like so pro.
That means so much to hear. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, keep doing it, because I was blown away.
It was a seriously fun night, and it kind of felt like it brought back those feelings of actually being out and like seeing live music, because you know you had the chat and everyone was really communicating, and you're seeing all these different bands play a couple of songs, and yeah, it was great fun, great night.
Nice. Yeah, no, that was it was so nice just to kind of have some feeling of music coming together. But yeah, I really appreciate you guys saying all that. Yeah, you guys were part of it. And like I was saying, we never entered the same room, right? You guys submitted something virtually, like, which I don't like. I probably would have never even dreamt of doing a show like this if it wasn't for the quarantine. And a lot of artists wouldn't do the things that they are doing. But yeah, what are some ways that you guys have been, you know, keeping up with this pandemic through technology? I know you guys have been, especially yourself, Alyssa, you've been very active with a lot of the things going on.
Yeah. I mean, I was thrown kind of like into the ring right off the bat. Like the very first live stream I did was for like City Hall Live. So it's like, you know, a little bit of high pressure situation where I'm like, figuring out not only just getting a good sound through my little, you know, amp in my, you know, trying to figure out how to get good sound in my room, but through, you know, to feed that through a computer into a live stream on Facebook. And it's multiple layered looping of like voice and synths and guitars and whatever. So, you know, like you don't want any distortion. You don't want to represent yourself badly. Like you need lighting, everything. So it is challenging to like figure out that world. And I did a bunch of festivals right off the bat. I was really lucky to get approached, and actually it's almost like I was getting like more gigs and more like festivals approaching me. It was cool in a way. You know, it was pretty cool to have that. And right off the bat, I just kind of figured, well, now's really a time to push yourself and challenge yourself and to learn new things and get into new territories that you may not have. Like I knew people who were doing live streaming before the pandemic and have persisted to, continue to do that. I have some festivals coming up. I always, for me, it's a different thing to perform online. I just I feel like, there's a little bit more of an anxiety when your songs are going to be like on the internet, and it's just more of a permanent thing. And it's for, you have less control once you put stuff on the internet. So, for me, it's a little bit of a different situation. Like I'm still trying to get comfortable with that kind of live streaming thing. I'm more so with, Brendan and I, like when our music is officially kind of released and stuff, it just feels a little bit more comfortable. But yeah, like we're just, trying to adapt to the situation. Like, for you, and then for our next festival, we kind of turned my place into like a venue, and it almost felt like being out again. Like we had all this gold foil on the walls, and then for the next one, we like rented all these, crazy lights, and we just had this little electronic kit that I'm renting in my living room, and Brendan brought in his amp and guitar and pedals and stuff, and we just recorded very simply into his little 4-input little Zoom recorder, and we're just doing whatever we got to do to kind of persist and keep going.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a challenge. I mean, luckily we had all the gear and stuff, but still, it adds so many more layers. Like when you go out to the club, you're like, oh, cool. You show up, you do your sound check, you plug into massive, powerful speaker systems with racks of compressors and all that kind of stuff, and power, and you strum a chord, and it's just so powerful. It's so amazing, but it's so easy to just get up there and you do your thing. It's not easy, but you know what I mean? It's your rock and roll. You got the audience, you do anything, you get off. But for at home, especially when you worry about quality and stuff like that, and you're trying to get the best quality, it's a whole new ball game. Like when I came in and we tried to record this, I brought in my Zoom H6N recorder that's got 4 inputs, 4 XLR or 1/4 inch, like dual jacks, and then a XY microphone at the end. And so we had to, the electronic kit went into number 3, her vocal goes into 1, my vocal goes into number 2, and the amp goes into 4. And then it's about, okay, we're problem solving every step of the way, right? So now we got those in there, but now they sound like shit because they're dry and there's nothing on them. So then we got to add compressor built into the thing, so her vocals stay the same. Then, it's just so much more to do.
Yeah.
To get to the end result, but it's also a great learning experience, and we're all better for it, to be honest. Now we know the technology better. Now we know next time we go to do it, it's not going to be a nightmare. We're all getting better at it. And as not that the tinfoil hat conspiracy people want to know or think about it, but 5G and maybe 6G and 7G, those kind of things, the faster the internet, the better the streaming quality will be. We want to be able to stream 4K. You want to stream 4K and I don't know how much quality, and at least the highest end quality MP3 you can stream or something. So we're not there yet. Maybe next pandemic we can 12G, but but anyway, it's weird.
Something to look forward to, Brendan.
I won't be around for that. Really?
Well, if it's before your next birthday,
Exactly.
I'm gonna get. That's true. If it's before next year, I'm gonna get rich on cryptocurrency and go buy a small island, and then won't even know there's shit going on.
Don't jinx it though.
But I'll have internet from the Tesla satellites. Space.
Nice. Yeah, those will be up too. As I say, it's really interesting how musicians set up for live music online and how they get acceptable sound. I'm glad you made it work. Yeah, definitely.
It's a challenge. Yeah, I always do test runs. I'll do a Facebook Live or something, and I'll just invite Brendan and maybe one other friend, sometimes my friend Choi, and I'll just do a lighting setup, try out a couple of different sound setups, and you know, so they can tell me on their end, you know, if it looks good, if it sounds good, because you can stream it to yourself, but sometimes, you know, it's good to have feedback from people who are actually watching it as it's live streaming. And yeah, like and it becomes more difficult when you do things that involve multiple instruments and multiple different kinds of sounds and layering, you know, as opposed to like some people just, you know, they sing with a guitar and it's a little bit, you know, a little bit easier to get a decent sound. But yeah, like it is hard to get that kind of quality right now just through your computer. And
you could put a microphone, just one microphone in the middle of the room and record it.
I mean, you can do lots of things. You can, you know, get yourself like an interface and, you know, good mic. And, you know, there's so many things that I kind of tried to experiment with when it started. And
it's a rabbit hole, but, you know, like Jesse, you of all people understand that. The amount of stuff that you do for your streams is crazy. So
yeah, it's funny. I was just gonna say, like, yeah, this is episode 54, and I've probably seen at least 50 different setups from the bands. You know, like there's no rules to it. We're all figuring this out together. Like it's been a journey that I feel like kind of all artists are doing together right now.
For sure.
It's true. But it's just, I mean, it'll be really nice to be able to just go live and you come with some video cameras and gimbals and then we rock out at our actual performance. I'm looking forward to that. But in the meantime, we got what we got, and we got to make it work.
Yeah. And not just make it work, but, you know, you can use this time to build what you have. So when we do come out of it, you know, knock on wood, like you'll have more potential to have already created, you know, more people that will be receiving your music, be hearing your music, you know, because right now, like, you know, like, if everyone's eyes and ears are on the internet, you have the, you know, the capacity to reach a worldwide audience in ways that aren't maybe necessarily as easy at other times. So
definitely, and I think you guys are right about what, like, we're all gonna have these skills now, right? Like none of us did this, none of us knew how to do this before.
Yeah, and I'm sure a lot of it will stay. A lot of it will be like, you know, it will continue even once we're out of this. There'll still be like, you know, people will still do some live streaming. It will just be mixed in, you know.
Well, even now we could potentially say, hey, let's record a quick demo of an idea so we have it. We can play it in the car and stuff. We could just, you know, do the setup we did with my little Zoom and plug in all the parts and then do it that way, you know. There's even reverbs and stuff built in. Like I didn't even use all the possibility on the Zoom. You could probably bounce it all down to one in the Zoom and just have a one wave file that you take out.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's another show.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're saying, yeah, episode 54, and I thought I'd be lucky to make it a 20, which I did. Like I was talking to Alyssa before we started this. I was way too optimistic, you know, about how long this was going to last. And I thought quarantine songs would be a fun little, you know, couple month project, and here we are, 13 months later.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. People are getting tired, and like Alyssa and I don't like to make necessarily things political or whatever, but you have to just like scratch your fucking head at how we're still. In fact, it's the worst it's ever been by multiple times. 4,700 cases today in Ontario. Like,
insane.
Guess what? The first time back in March of last year, when Alyssa and I were getting groceries for the first time, stocking up, going, Trudeau's got it. We got to get home and lock the doors. Right? At that time, we knew, shut the damn borders, keep it closed. And then once you do your contact tracing or whatever the shit is, find out how many, get the numbers. Once you get all the numbers, wait till they go to zero.
Yeah.
Don't start opening it up just because you see a number drop.
Community transmission, it's just so much harder to shut it all down. Like, you know, it was really frustrating. It's really frustrating when you're kind of living your life and you don't have control over, you know, your situation. Like you may want things to be done a certain way, but they're not. And you still have to kind of suffer those consequences, you know? So you just have to kind of like find ways to just, you know, not, you know, get, you know, I think a lot of people are really suffering emotionally from that, you know? So we just have to find ways to kind of do your thing and continue to be proactive in what you're doing and productive and find the positive.
Get it right. And pray they get it right this time and shut the F down. And
Yeah. Well, I've seen people posting things like, "Oh, lockdowns don't work. Why are we still doing it?" It's like it's not that lockdowns don't work. Lockdowns work if you do them properly. Like if you lock it down effectively and strictly enough and keep it locked down. But if you lock it down for a bit, start seeing the numbers, the progress, and then as soon as you get halfway, you're like, "Okay, we're cool now. Let's open it." It's just gonna go back. You know,
well, it's not rocket surgery.
brainer. Like it's like running half a marathon and then starting back from the beginning. Like anyway.
You don't have to be a rocket appliance.
Yeah, no rocket surgeon. But, yeah, I mean, was it New Zealand's like been having giant parties for how long now? Like, aren't they totally clear too? Yeah.
Yeah, Barry's just in Australia. Barry's down from Australia.
In fact, I read something that the U.S. and Japan have a warning to not go to Ontario. No joke.
That's
the
wild.
US and Japan have made official statements telling people to not go visit Ontario
Because
because
we're higher per capita than the States. Like it's
yeah, I mean Trudeau and freaking Ford, like come on guys, just do what you have to do.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, I'm gonna start wrapping this up pretty soon here, but I'm definitely not gonna end it talking about pandemic stuff. Can we change this totally different direction? Can you guys tell me one of your
I concur. Let's move away from this.
Can you guys tell me one of your favorite Queens and Kings live music memories?
Brennan. I got asked this one last time, so Brennan, you take it.
Yeah, but I mean the moment I think you mentioned this moment, or it came up in another part of the conversation, is still one of my favorite moments. Was when we were having a show and we had fought beforehand. I'll just say this. Before we had an argument, we're not getting along, but then the show must go on, you know? So we go out and we play, and I'm like, and it was like exceptionally good. I'm like, wow. And she's looking at me and she's singing and she's like rocking. I'm like, whoa, man, we're really feeling this. And I'm like, afterwards, I'm like, so amazing. The way you were like singing, like really tight. She was like, I was hate singing to you. She was just mad at me yelling, singing the words, but like telling me to F off at the same time. So
and that's what I say. We bring our relationship into this band. It's like part and parcel, you know?
Oh yeah. Yeah, you want to play louder drums? I'll play louder guitar, man.
It's a way to kind of release and unload that baggage, you know?
Absolutely.
I mean, some of my favorite show was probably one of my favorite shows was the Hideout, where Alyssa just got up on the riser and started like it was just an effortless rock and roll show. That was
our best. Yeah, that was a good show.
Going crazy, and then jumps in the audience and everybody's singing with her, and it's all like,
yeah.
It was a hot, sweaty mess, and I loved it.
I remember that first time I got up on that riser because, like, you know, I'm wearing these like wedge boots, and I'm like, you know, a bit of a klutz and stuff, and you know, like it's you know, you take that first step, and you're like, it's a little, you know, intimidating at first, but you get up there, and it's just like, you know, liberating, and then you just like, bam,
channel the passion. Channel the passion.
Yeah.
But I think that's one of the favorite ones. I mean, there's a lot, but there's no like standout. Like, remember when the drum kit caught fire? Like, we don't have any of those things.
We've had a lot of good shows. I think two of the venues we've played the most here have been the Hideout and Cherries, and we've had a lot of good shows there. The Horseshoe, Supermarket. You know, like, you know, everything we do is music, really. Like, even if we're not playing a show, we're like hanging out with musicians, we're going to something, you know, music related, a music meetup. So it's all just like all of our good memories are music related ones. So we got to get back to those.
Cool, definitely. Yeah, I feel like that's a much happier place for me to be wrapping things up on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you guys? I'll do a little outro at the end. But do you guys got any last words that you want to share with everybody watching during these whack ass times we're living in?
Alyssa?
I say, like, you know, you just have to kind of like it has been really challenging. I think, you know, we've all been affected in different ways. And even ways that we maybe wouldn't have anticipated, you know, like it really teaches you not only to, like, you know, kind of reflect on the world that we're in and the way that we live, but also, you know, to look like to be introspective and look within at yourself. Like for me, I've always been a person that's, you know, been okay to spend a lot of time alone. But yeah, like for me right now, it's just kind of like I'm home and I'm on my own all the time. And you know, it's always just like finding ways to move forward and figuring things out. And like, you know, the more that you're kind of shut inwards in a way, the more that your inner world kind of expands and opens up, and your creativity. And there's so much you can do from your homes right now. Like there's so much that, you know, with technology and with, you know, with your right, you know, creativity and musical tools, like you can really just do like, and like there's no boundaries really. So they have to keep moving forward, you know?
Yeah, and use this time to find out more about yourself. You know, it's a tough time, very tough time. Like even without being a musician, worrying about like not playing shows and stuff, just the loneliness, the separation, the like it's solitary confinement, right? Like some people aren't, like Alyssa's very particular, not like going out as much as other people would be going out. Like a lot of people still go out, do the jogs, do whatever, you know. Some people are just taking it more easy and being smarter about it. You know what I mean? So I know it's a tough time, but just I've learned a lot about myself and my capabilities and what I can deal with and overcome. And it's a real challenge. It's been hard. But just know that, you know, the end is coming of it. You know, I think this is the last dragon breath before the thing just fades away.
Yeah.
Is what I think.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Here's
That's
hope.
for history to know like how these things, you know, come about and you know, you look backwards to see the future sometimes, you know.
That's pretty deep. I think that's a good way to leave it. I can't make it deeper.
You don't want to go. You don't want to go back to the acted out poetry of the.
Hey, you guys did it for me.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for coming on and doing this interview. It's always wonderful talking to you guys.
Yeah, you too, Jesse. Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you everybody who has tuned in here. This episode will be rewatchable at www.quarantinesongs.com. Please do go make sure you guys watch the rest of Going Through Hell. I'm gonna play a little video clip to end this off, but to go watch Going Through Hell, you're gonna have to go to the website or through YouTube. Yeah, and there's some exciting videos coming up, so you guys should also give Queens and Kings a follow on social media. Keep up.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks so much to everyone who watched.
More Dropboard Entertainment stuff. They're killing it. Sorry, go ahead, Liz.
I think we were both just saying what we wanted to say at the same time.
Yeah, people can watch it twice and listen to you, and they don't listen to me.
Yeah.
Awesome.
We're all on different channels, so you can mute one of us at a time.
Take your choices. Okay, have a great night, everybody.
All right, peace out, everyone.
Thank you.
Pressure. You got me on my knees. You got me under pressure.